Hello from the holy city of Tzfat, Israel. This is actually the heart of Kabbalah, and I'm going to give you the heart of Kabbalah. So, there's a great teaching in Kabbalah, which the Lubavitch Rebbe, who obviously counseled tens of thousands of people, would often quote this teaching. Everybody in the world today basically is kind of looking for the hack. What's the system? Now, it's very, very simple, in fact. I once did a lecture with a quantum physicist, and effectively he said that, what is an atom? An atom in Latin is the smallest indivisible particle. So we thought that we're going to, dig our way down, figure it out. It turns out that nothing is solid, everything is energy. But, and here's the important but that a lot of people are not aware, energy is interfacing with energy. It basically is relationships. And as you look at something, that thing takes on the energy of the way you look at it. So when we are positive, we are generating positive energy. It says in Kabbalah that the face of God mirrors man's face below. If we are joyful below, we cause joy above. And when we cause joy above, it brings about blessings below. It's actually quite simple. The Baal Shem Tov gives an example. He says, two people come to the king. One person gets on his hands and knees, Your Royal Highness, can you please help me? The other person is actually the minister, and he knows the king well. He's a friend of the king. So he does something different. He says, Your Royal Highness, can you please, like Queen Esther, join me at a party? And meanwhile, the king comes to the party, and he then gives him his favorite chicken and kugel and gefilte fish. The king is so happy, in such a good mood. He says, Do me a favor, you think you can help me out here? The king is like, Of course I can help you out. So the answer is opening up another person's heart, opening up God's heart. But how do you do that? By having an open heart yourself. And this is really the key teaching of the Baal Shem Tov. He says, fear no one or anything but God, and love everyone with all your heart and soul. In other words, the opposite of love is fear. And when we're in the state of fear, our entire nervous system changes. And instead of thinking about how I can help, whether we realize it or not, we're thinking about how I cannot get hurt. So that's where faith is so important. If Judaism stands on anything, as Habakkuk says, the Talmud teaches us, it stands on faith in God. Tzaddik b'emunasa yichaya. A tzaddik lives by his faith. So cultivating faith, and that's really what all of Judaism tells us to do. Kiss the mezuzah, remember God. Pray in the morning, remember God. Keep the Shabbos, remember God. Keep Pesach, remember God. Why do we have to remember so much? Because the opposite of memory is to allow the world that you see that appears to be real, that appears to be sometimes scary, to let that be your consciousness. But if you engage in the Torah, you engage in Shabbos, you engage in prayer, that becomes your consciousness. And then, in fact, we all love each other naturally. Ha'adam hu medini, a person by nature actually is a social creature. So building our love for one another, as Tanya teaches us, realizing we're all parts of one. There's one God, one soul in many bodies. And having that meditation, particularly before davening, as the Arizal tells us, before we pray, we should say, Hareini mekabel alai mitzvahs aseh shel v'ahavta l'reacha k'mocha. I take upon myself the mitzvah to love my fellow Jew as myself, seeing the good in the other. This is the entire essence of Kabbalah. So I bless you, and I bless all of us. And if this is a meaningful video, please do share it with someone else. It actually is this simple. Positivity, opening our heart, joy, love. These are the things that cosmically reverberate throughout the universe. And if we do this internally, and it's not always simple, because there is jealousy in this world. When somebody is calm, what's all of anti-Semitism? Is basically jealousy. They asked Freud, in fact, for the psychological reason for anti-Semitism. And he said, miserable bastards. And I used to think that's a joke, but then I realized it's actually true. Unfortunately, when we become miserable, we become jealous of the people that are not. And we subconsciously want them to be miserable. If I ever go to a protest or whatever it is and there's the enemy, you know what I do? I'm always nice because I kill them with love. I understand what's going on subconsciously. They're jealous that I'm a happy Jew. I get it. I would be jealous of that too if my whole upbringing was negative. I was once being a Chabad rabbi, we were putting on tefillin in a market, and we had a couple of Muslims come by, and some of them were young, and we had some nice conversation. This other guy was a little older, and I could see right away he was into antagonism. So there's no point arguing with somebody that wants to argue. So I said to him, tell me, do you love me or do you hate me? Well, he can't say he loves me, and it would be rude to say he hates me. So you know what he said? He said, the Palestinians. So I said to him, I just want you to know that I love you. He put his head down and he walked away. Why? Because behind all that shtick was just jealousy of love. I mean, it happened in Harry Potter. It's all about this jealousy. But once we understand that, we can actually feel compassion on people that are jealous. I mean, it's pretty sad if a person's walking away feeling judged their whole life and they feel that everybody may be judging them. They have this tension within them. It's actually quite a miserable life. It's an anxiety provoking life. We could have anxiety from episodes or anxiety from people. And most people are suffering from fear of criticism. And so by just doing this video, by just engaging in joy, overcoming fear through faith, and that's why it's not an easy thing to do, because once we get, God forbid, into fear, it's not so simple to get out of it. You really have to engage strongly. One of my books is a translation of the classic Rabbeinu Bachaya, The Gateway to Trust. I really recommend you check that out. I'll put a link below to my publishing house, and let us all hope and pray that God brings the Mashiach. We overcome all darkness, and the world literally will have pure faith, lack of fear, of course, and the result, infinite love and joy. Thank you for watching.